Maybe we look at another method of creating a database itself. So to create a new database, we fit just hover around these icons wey dey here. So if you look am, you go see something like create a new schema in the connected server. No forget say we don talk say schema and database na the same thing. So we fit just click this to create a new database, or we fit just come into schemas navigator area and then we fit just click, you see create schema. So create schema basically means create new database. So if you click am, so it go show us a new page. So for this page, it dey ask us say wetin be the name of the new schema we wan create. So basically wetin be the name of the new database. So make we name our database. Make we say this database now, make we call am employee database. Make we say EMPDB. Okay. So after we don't enter the name, we fit leave these settings as default, and then we just come here and click apply. So they have say apply changes to object. So we go click OK. So now it go show us the command where we take create this new database, and the command be this. So for reference, if you just copy this command if we want and probably save it somewhere. So now the command we will take create and with this. So we just click apply to create a new database, and then don't tell us say SQL script was successfully applied to the database. So our database don't create with that EMPDB. So if you come here and check our schemas navigator panel, you go see say now the first database we will create with this with the other method, and with this new method now the new database we will create with this EMPDB. So now so if we create a new database. So next, to create a table inside this database, we still fit come on top here and click on create a new table in the active schema in the connected server. So now to create a table, we go click this, but our schema never dey active, that is our database never dey active. So to make this database active, you go just double click am. So if you double click am like this, you go see say e don dey in bold, e don dey highlighted. So it means that the active schema be this. So if we come here and create a new table, or if you just right click on tables and then click on create table. So if you click on create table, it will bring another new page for the query editor, and now if we enter our table. So wetin be the table name? I don't create a table here, we will take do am. So we have an employee table that consists of employee ID, first name, last name, age and sex, and then department table with the employee ID, department and zone. So we'll just create the employee table first. So we'll call this one employee. Okay, we will leave these settings for default, and then we will go enter the columns within the table. So if we click here, we just hide these default settings, and then we fit enlarge this column area so that we go fit enter our columns. So we'll just click on. Okay, so now to enter our columns, we go just double click on these areas. So you see it asks for column name, the column data type, and then some other items they here we'll go discuss, and then default expression. So we'll just double click here. So the first column, we'll check out now employee ID, EMPID. So when we enter EMP underscore ID, and the data type na number, so integer. So if we make this one our primary key, we'll make them our primary key. You see as we click on primary key, this yellow key appear for here. So this one they indicate say the employee ID and the primary key. We enter the next column. So first name, last name. So see here, first name, and then the data type is virtual variable character into bracket 45. So meaning say now only a maximum of 45 characters we have for the first name. So if we just leave them like that. So and then last name, so if we leave them here too, and then if we say not null, that is that is, this column no go accept a null value. So we'll just tick this and tick this. So the employee ID must be provided, first name, last name must be provided. So these columns no fit accept null value. And then maybe enter the remaining columns, age and sex. So age can't be virtual, it has to be an integer. So you can just click here to change the data type, and then click here to select from a list of data types. So you see, say we get several data types for here. So if you just click on integer, okay, so and then the last is sex, so male and female, so that's virtual. But I would just like make it just be something like M for male and F for female. So instead of virtual, if you just use the character data type, I'm gonna go find out. Okay, now in this. So and then just one character allowed. So that is M for male or F for female. And so let me just quickly run through this. So this is the primary key. If you click on, you will see say yellow key will appear here. We don't talk on before. And now not null means say the column no go fit accept null value. So for age we fit accept null value, and then for sex we fit accept null value. And then I go like tick one box again here. The box now auto incremental. So what this one they do be say if you enter a new row, it go increase them automatically. For default expression here, say the expression for generated columns, otherwise the default value. This one means say if the values of these particular columns are not provided, you fit set a default value. So make we set for age, let's say the default value is null or maybe not available. Let's just say NA, not available, not available. And then for sex, if we just choose null, choose them. So now we don't enter our column names. So here when you click on these individual columns, you go see some of the properties where you assign to them here. So as we click on employee ID, we see saying that the primary key, and it cannot accept null values, and auto incremental. Now if we don't include primary key for here, what thing go happen? I could come out the primary key. So if we come out this primary key and then we come out the auto incremental, make we dey consistent anytime we want to put any default expression. So we don't need these default expressions. So make I just come out and then make a click apply. Now the command we want to create this table be this. So if you click apply, so you see you don't apply the table, you don't create the table. So SQL script was successfully applied to the database. So finish. So if you look here now, if you click on tables now, you go see the new table we will just create, employee. But if you click on this icon, you know, this last icon with the 3 icons there, and the info with the settings, and this is to display the table. So maybe click on. If you click on, you go see say now the column names be this. If you look up here, now the command will take display this table be this. So don't forget, say we don't talk, say if you want display all the columns for inside the table, you can just select star from the particular table. So if you notice, we don't fit enter values here. Make we click on select rows limit 1000. So you see I'm still the same thing, we still don't fit enter values. Now because say we not define the primary key. To define our primary key, we will just click on the table we will create and then click on alter table. It will take us back to the page where we create our table. So now we fit select our primary key, which is employee ID, and then you see as we even come out the default expression that time, it don't put a default expression for us as null and null. So and then we fit just apply, and then SQL script was successfully applied to the database. So if we click finish. So now if you go to the table we will create and then select rows limit 1000, or if we just click on this, so you see we go fit enter our data inside the table, we go fit enter values inside the table because we don't define our primary key. So make we add our items inside the table. So to add items inside the table, just double click, and then you can add your items. So when we add our items, 101 Johnson OB, 29 years old, male. So it's 101 Johnson OB, 29 years and male. So because in a character data type we use, we know if we just enter the full male, so we'll just leave them as M, because in only one character they allowed. And then the second, 102 Ibrahim Dauda is 31 and male. 102 103 Shade Adegun, 25, female. 104. And then lastly, 104 Sophia Ebele, 30 and female. So now we don't enter values for inside our table. So to apply these values, we will just come down here and then we'll go click apply. So look at the commands. We don't do this one before for the first method. Insert into the table name, the column names, and then the values. So you click apply and it don't apply successfully. So finish. So now if you refresh them here, and then if we click on this icon, it will display our table with the values. So now so if we create database, and also if we enter table for inside MySQL using this simpler method. So make we enter our second table, which is the department table. So to do that, we can click on the table because the database they active already. So make we click on the table and then create table. So this new table we called department. So let's just say department. Maybe hide this default settings, and then make we look at the column names: employee ID, department, and zone. So make we enter them. Employee ID. We want this to be the primary key, and it can be null. Then we have the department, and then we have the zone. So let's leave this at a maximum of 45 characters. So and then not null, not null. So make we go create this table. So click apply. Okay, apply, finish. So we don't create a new table which is called department. So make we open them. Okay, so you see, because we don't define our primary key, we fit input our values directly for here. So make we input our values. So the worker with employee ID 101, the department is operations and in the northern zone. Okay, maybe we look at the second one. We'll look at the third one. And then the final entry. So After we don't finish, make we apply. So click apply. Now the commands with this, then apply and then finish. So if you refresh them, and then where is it? Here, make I collapse this one. So this is the database, this is the tables. So to enter the tables, so see, we get two tables, department and employees. To check the employee table and then to check the department table, we click this. So another thing I want quickly show us, so we don't talk on before here, say these three icons where they perform various functions. We don't know this one they display the table, that is they select all the columns from the table and it will display them. So this one are actually settings. So if you want to alter the table, if you just click on this settings, so if you click on, see them, so you go open the settings of the table and then we will alter and apply. And then right here is the information about the table. This I will be here, now the information. So if you click on, it will show the information about the table, the date it was created, the memory, the row length, the average row length, the column count, table rows, and some other information. So now the other method of creating databases and tables with this, and in my opinion, this one is much easier than the first method. We don't look as we fit create a database and create a table. Now make we look as we fit import data. Now this one fit be to import data as a whole or to create tables and import data from another source. Make we take an example. So now we want to create a table inside the database. So make we select the database where we want to use create our table. If you look at schemas area, you will notice say DataDB. Now the database where they highlighted, but not be DataDB we want to use. The database we want to use now EMPDB. So make we go use them. Go use the keyword use database. So EMPDB. Go end down with a semicolon, and then make we run them. So you see them. It don't highlight EMPDB. So the next thing is to create a table and import data into the table. So basically, what we want to do be say we want to create a table with just the column names, and then we go import data from another source into that table. So maybe we go create a table. I don't create a table for a different source, Microsoft Excel, and the name of the table is sales. And what's in this table there about now sales agents and the amount of sales where they make in each quarter of a particular year. So for example, this person's name now Okon Amarachi, and our agent's code now 682, and this is the number of sales she made for Q1 of the particular year, Q2 of the same year, Q3 and Q4. So we have quite a number of entries, around 75. Now this table we want to enter for inside our database. So we'll go create them. So to create a table, we will use the keyword create table, and then we go enter the table name. So waiting we want to make the table name be, and we go enter. So if you look at our table here, the name is sales. So we'll just write down for here sales. So and then make no forget inside the bracket we go put the column names and then the column data type. So we'll go check the column names. We'll get here. So we have the agent code. So we'll put agent code, and what's be the data type of the agent code. The data type in integer, so we go just put int, so it's integer, then a comma. So the second column na name and the data type na varchar. So we'll just go enter name, and then data type varchar, and then into bracket. So we'll just set this one to 50, because it includes the name and the surname. So make we just assume say the name and surname not fit pass 50 characters. So we'll check the next column name and the column data type. So the next column name now Q1 and data type now integer, so the same as the next one after that, which is Q2, Q3, Q4, and all the data types then be integers. So we'll go enter them. So for Q1 the data type na integer. For Q2, the data type na integer. For Q3, the data type na integer. And finally Q4, integer. And so make we just end this with a semicolon, and then we'll go run them to create the table. So you see like say our table don't create, so make we just come here to check the tables. Oh, we don't have it yet, so we'll just go refresh them like this. So as we refresh them, our sales table don't come here. So if we want to view the sales table, we will just create. So we will just use the keyword select all columns, and to check all columns now star we go use from then our table name, which is sales. So we'll just end this with semicolon, and then we'll go run them. So you see so we have a table, an empty table with the column names, agent code, name, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So similar to this table in our Excel sheet. So now make we insert all these values. So to insert the values, we go carry our mouse come the table we will just create, and then we go right click. So if you right click, we go select table data import wizard. So make we select them, table data import wizard. Now we go open a page for us. They ask us to select the file to import. So the table data import, they allow us to easily import CSV, JSON data files. And so we go just go search for the file we want import. So the file already there on top my desktop, so now in be this. So I will just double click and I will just press open for here. So sales.csv, and then I go press next. So if they ask me, say I want to use an existing table, or I want to create a new table, but I won't use an existing table. The table where I just create just now will be say get only the column names but no data. So now the table where I want to use, and the name of the table now sales under the database empdb. So I don't tick use existing table, and then the next thing we go do now to press next. And so we go try match columns. So you go try match the columns where they the Excel sheet to the columns we will just create for the sales table in MySQL. So if you look at the source column be this, and at the destination column be this. So now the source column, now the Excel column be this, and at the SQL columns be this. So if you see them, you go see say it match. Now agent code be this, agent code, name, and so on. And then it will give a preview of within our data go be like. So if you look at this is the agent code, the name, and the sales made, the number of sales made in each quarter. So it tally very well. So we'll just press next, and then say click next to execute. So we'll just click next, and then it go import the data. If it takes more time depending on the amount of data where you want import, so finish performing tasks. Okay, click next to continue. So if you click next, so you see 74 records imported. If to say maybe problem they part of the source or the destination, you could just get something like maybe 0 records imported. So usually now always all or nothing. So now either all the data import or none of the data go import. So here we don't see say the all our records don't they imported into the MySQL table. So we'll just click finish. If you want to view the new table, we will just create, and we will just import data into. If you just go this our query, so select all columns from sales, and then we will just run them. So if you run them, you see them, you don't import all the data. Now we have all our data imported from Microsoft Excel into MySQL. Now make we look at another method of importing data. This time around, we no go create any column name, we no go create any table, we go import the data in full. So to do that, make I delete this sales table we will just create. So to delete the table, we go use the keyword drop table. And then waiting be our table name, sales. So with a semicolon, and then make we run out. So you see you don't delete the table. If you look at database here, the tables we get here are only department and employee, no sales table. So now to import the sales table info, if we just bring our mouse on tables and right click, and then we'll click on table data import wizard. So just like the previous one, you go ask the file we want import. My file don't dey here already because I don't use them previously. If your file not dey here, just go browse them, and then if you just go select them from anywhere where you keep them. So the next thing that we press next, and so instead of to use existing table where we don't create, we go create a new table, and then it go ask you say under which database you want create the table. So say na EMPDB or DataDB, now the two databases where they are schemas be this. So now EMPDB we won't use, and now the name of the table we won't use with this. If you want to change the name of the table, you feel edit them here, and then when you are done, you go press next. So this time around, you go see the name of the columns and then the data type. So here you go fit choose whichever data type you want. Maybe na date time, maybe na text or anything, any kind of data type. So whichever data type you want, if you just select them for here. So and here down here you go see the preview of how the table go be. So if you don't do okay with the table, just click next and then click next to execute. So you see it dey execute them. So you don't finish, and then if you just click next and see table emp.sales was created, 74 records imported. So you don't import all our records finish, and then we'll go click finish. So our table don't dey created, but it never still reflect for here. But maybe we'll go refresh them here. So as we refresh them, it don't reflect. So if you want view our table, if you just either go to select from sales, or if you just come here and then if you just left click on this icon right there here, so we'll just click on. So you see now the table will be this. As we click on, it don't write the code we will take get this table. So now two methods we will fit take import data into MySQL from other sources be this.